What's up, everybody? Everybody, what's up? What's up, everybody? Everybody, what's up? So, I am going to be doing a little video today. It looks like it started, maybe? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see if it's going. I think it is. Alright, so I have it running on my other computer just so I can see the comments a little better. So let's get started. So I wanted to talk to you guys. You know what? Maybe I should just give it a few minutes so that people get in here. I'm going to go ahead and fix me a bowl of chili that I made today. Because this is going to, it's going to be a while. I'm going to be on here for a while. Alright, I am back. So the first thing I wanted to tell you guys is I started this logo like last week, but let me show you where I was working from. They just sent me this logo today, which is what I really needed. So let me show you what I was working on before they sent this one. So last week I was using this t-shirt. So let me turn on what I did. And this is the logo I was working from. And needless to say, it was, I can do it, but it just takes a very long time because the situation, how the shirt was actually laying and trying to, draw it from a photograph. Sometimes it's very, very easy to draw from a photograph, and then other times it can be not so easy. So this is something that I wanted to share with you guys in case you find yourself having to create a logo from something that's not a typical picture. So your hope is that somebody sends you a vector file, which is something similar to what I just showed you. So just imagine this is what I was using a few weeks ago. Let me turn off the picture in the background. And then let me turn this on. So this is how far I got last week, which is pretty much the most difficult part is doing this guy. And I think what I'm going to do is just copy him. I'm going to redo the letters, delete these, and then I'm just going to keep him and the cigar because I think I'm going to go ahead and use that on top of the other one. So let us copy this, and then we will go back to the new one and we will hit edit paste, and I'll try to line it up on here as best as I can. Now let me zoom in a little bit. So we already know this word down here is lettering here. So let's change this to red so it's not in the group. And it's really not even the same style. So I might end up having to do that again and just draw it out myself. A lot of times I try to find a font that's similar. I might be able to maneuver the C so it's kind of similar, but I don't know if it's going to work. But for now, let's just concentrate on making sure that our guy here is lined up with the picture. So like I said before, last week I was working on him, but I was working from a t-shirt picture. So this is the hoodie or sweatshirt I was working from. And just to catch people up who are joining, this is what I was doing last week. And it's not hard to do because actually I could have taken this picture and put it in Photoshop and then dropped the background out and then just had, the letters and everything. However, the part I was mostly concerned about was the guy in the middle, okay? So let us go back to our new image and let's file and save this since we added some stitching in here. Let's go to our drive, and this one is called Brown Ash, and we're going to say Brown Ash 2. So whenever you start a new, I don't know why I named this crown. It's really grown. Brown Ash. Let's see. Yep. Always just start your filing sequence. Never copy over your original file because you might need to go back to it. So I did name this one 1. I already know this is 1, so the next one would be 2. So I'm going to go ahead and save that out. Now we are going to move the guy in the white markings. So let's move him over here like this. And make him a little bigger. Like that. Let's see. So I was thinking about this design earlier today, and I think what I want to do is I want to use, instead of using like these stitches that I have put on here, I think these are complex fields. Yeah, I don't want to use fields on this person. I think what would probably look better is just using the walk stitch to make these different markings. So what I think I'm going to do is we're just going to erase all this stuff that I've done because I would have to go back and go over it anyway. And we're just going to start all over, scratch. So this is a marathon video that you're about to watch me do today. And that's because I like to get done. I don't know about you, but I'm one of those type of people that I love working, but I like to get done. So let's start from the top of his hat and just work our way down, okay? And what I have decided to do is just use walk stitches where I can, because actually you never want to leave the white open, like, because say for instance they want to put it on a pink shirt and you don't color in the white, then you have pink in there. So I always try to use the color that you see in the actual video. I mean, not the video, but the actual image. Okay, so let's zoom all the way in as close as we can. And we're going to start with his hat. We're going to take this walk stitch. We're going to click the color white. And we're just going to start stitching around his hat to create this line. And the reason why I'm choosing to use the walk stitch is because it's the one that's more closely related to but it will look a lot better. And once I stitch it out, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I think the whole, what some people probably will call difficult, the most difficult thing about doing digitizing is learning which type of stitches to use on different projects. Once you learn that part, you're good as gold. But it's just going to take time. So what I just did is I put a cut there just so that the stitch wouldn't like go together. So then let's work on that line, and then we'll do a couple of these. Keep in mind, you don't have to do every single line, but you want it to look as close to the image as possible. So I'll put a little bit of this in here just so you can have the look of like seeing his face. You want to see a line here just to show his nose. But you want to put so let's go on down. You got his ear, so we'll just do a little line here just to show his ear. You have his mouth, other part of his mouth. You'll put a little cut in between there. Then I think this is like his chin. So all these are just highlight marks. Okay. All right, so we did his hat. So let's take a look at our work here. Now let's go back here to his jacket, and we're just gonna go from here to his jacket. Here, 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 and here. All right, so let's turn on the background. See what I'm saying? So we're not, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to put in the marks to show that this is part of their design. So this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand when it comes to digitizing. And when you get logos made, you just want to make sure that you do a printed logo and then you create a logo for digitizing, because everything you print make as a 2D logo doesn't always look the same when you get it digitized for something else. So if you have pens, it might work on a pen, because with ink and printing, it's easier to put something like that on small vector. You can use a vector file to get it on there. But in terms of sewing, not so much. So I see this little white line. I missed this one up here. So let's go back to about here. So maybe here. And let's add a line here. And let's add a line behind his head back here. It looks like it might be a line here. So I'm going to wait on these big parts like down here, but his chain will be a line. We're not going to go into trying to make circles and stuff like that. Your goal, your responsibility as a digitizer is to get as close as you can to the original design. I know you hear me say that all the time. People just want to make sure that what they gave you is as close as possible. All right. So now this will be a big section, big section. These will be big sections. So let's go right here. Let's make this a shape there. Let's go down. let's do these lines here. And I think actually the the lettering might not be as difficult now since I have a real file to work from. And let's do this little marks over here. I'm looking for simple lines, not the thick ones like the one like his cuffs to his shirt. And we want to always make sure we cut these threads so that it's not jumping and you have wire lines of thread all over your design. So his hands, I think we can also create the line here, and here, here, here. Cut that off. And we'll keep going. So let's make a line for his necklace here. And I have another one I'm going to do after this. So we're going to be on a little marathon tonight. And since I have this software installed, I might try to do a TikTok live since now I can share my screen. But I think I might be able to do better on TikTok right now in terms of views. It looks like a lot of people watch my videos after the fact, but not when it's live. So I'm going to try to switch over on when I do the second logo. I'll switch over to TikTok and do it over there. And then let's come back over here. Let's do this. Let's do this little line here. Make sure we cut these threads. Looks like a jump stitch. Let's go in here. Remember, these lines are for effect only. Okay? We're just trying to get as close as possible to the design. Now, if this was bigger, then we would have to change the stitch to maybe a fill because we will have more room to stitch out. But when you don't have a lot of space for stitches, you have to make sure at least something will stitch out. So I think this size of this logo, I think this is about a 3x2 or something like that. So we're just trying to make sure that when it stitches out, it's readable. You can tell what it is, you know. I'll do these lines right here. Again, I'm trying to do the smaller line first, and then we'll go back and do the bigger pieces of white. Put a cut in between. Did that? Where is this at? It's way up there. Alright. So now let's move on. I think I might be able to do it with this one too, so let's try it. It's good for the slim line of stitching, but then I might have to fill it in with bigger white. Let's go back. So if you're good with Photoshop, you should be able to use DesignShop because it's pretty much the same concept. as Photoshop. You're using handles, and I find it to be super easy to use. Alright, so let's go. Let me find this stitch right here. And we're gonna go back. Okay, so let's go right below here. This one. That one. Let's go cut there. And let's do this kind of zigzaggy line. Okay. If you have any questions, just let me know. Now, it seems like we've gotten pretty much, so the black is already there. Okay. So I turned off the black parts so that I can see what's going on underneath. So now let's go back and do some of these bigger white sections. So I'm going to use my fill stitch. And let's start over here with his collar of his shirt. And I'll move these up to the top. So you see his collar shirt is right there. So I'm going to double click on this, turn it into a short stitch, and then I'm going to move this start and end points. And we're going to change the direction of the thread. Make it go like that. Alright, so now let's do this other piece of his shirt. And we're going to close that. We're going to do the same thing we did before, but I want all these large pieces to be at the top. So I just drilled it up there. I'm going to change this to short stitches. Start over here and over here. Alright, so let's go down to his shirt. And let's add in some white for his shirt. Now this logo is what I would be considered a pretty difficult, very detailed, not difficult, but detailed. So you have to take your time so you can make sure you don't. I have a habit sometimes I'm going so fast that I forget to turn the vector fill into a complex fill, so it doesn't have any stitches associated with it. So I'm going to have it start up here and right here. And then let's do his little tie pieces. So again, we're gonna have like a little marathon tonight because I need to get done with this. I've been kind of waiting on the customer to send me this file. He finally sent it today. So I'd like to try to get it digitized so I can send him a sample. And then from there, they can decide, you know, what all they want to order from it. So that's the goal for the marathon tonight. Plus, I didn't want it to go into the weekend because I never know like how my orders are gonna go on the weekend. If I'm gonna have anything, you know, anything could come up. So I just like to be kind of prepared and give people time to get their funds together, get their orders together for whatever they're trying to purchase for this particular order. Again, I told you guys before, I'm eating chili, so please forgive me for if you can hear me chewing. I try to fix something that will, last the whole week. Chili was a good option, and instead of using cheese, I use like this spicy hummus. It is so good. If you've never tried it, you should give it a try. Spicy hummus on top of your chili. It's the bomb. And it's way more healthier than cheese. No cheese, please. So let me move all these to the top. So was it super windy in your town where you live? It was really windy today. Super windy. All right, so look at his hand. So how will we do his hand? How should we do his hand? How should we do his hand? What do y'all think? I'm thinking about just doing, let me go back over here. While I'm thinking about how to do his hand, let me go over here and do this little section of, again, it doesn't have to be perfect because the size of the image, we're just trying to get the effect of the logo. Not gonna be perfect. It's art. Remember, always remember this is art, so it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. It's like as long as you get as close as you can to the image, that's what matters. That's what matters. Remember that. Let's do his little shirt that's hanging out here. Again, we're using a field stitch. We're using a field stitch right here. And let's get into this hand. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. So I could go around this way and just cut out these holes, which I think I might do. So let's try that design because it's such a small space and we have to remember there's already black underneath. So I don't have to redo the black at all. So I can just cut out the black parts to kind of create the absence of white without having to do a lot of clipping and cutting. Just trying to give it the effect of the shadow that's there. So that's what we're trying to do right now. Alright, so while it's still in this mode, we can go here to the insert holes and we can cut out these little, should be able to cut them out. Here we go. I always make it bigger just to give it more room. We'll do this one over here. And then you'll see why I went like further away from where the actual opening is, just because when involved with thread, sometimes it doesn't, allow for the space that you need to create the opening. And once I stitch it out, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So see what's happening here? You can't really see it. And so sometimes you have to adjust the lines to open it up so that that space is there. See what I'm saying? But these are changes that you can make when you're testing. Okay? So let's see how far we've gotten. I think we're done with the top. So now we're going to work on this part of his leg and we'll be done because I've already done the black in the background. So let's zoom into his leg and we can finish up these little areas right here. Then we're going to use the fill stitch. And I think I'm just going to do a little parts at a time instead of doing one long piece. And better. Again, let these fills. I don't know why I keep jumping to the bottom. Let's go ahead and convert this to stitches. And change the direction of these stitches to this way. Let's keep going. Right. So I've been doing this for 5 years now. And sometimes I don't have to do a lot of changes, but right now, since Joanne Fabrics went out of business, I'm having a hard time finding the fabric that I use to make patches, so I had to order it online. And now I'm waiting for it to come because that fabric is it's sturdier than cotton. I use gabardine. I don't know if anybody else uses anything else, but I love gabardine fabric and it's the best for me. It holds the stitches and just looks a lot better, especially when you're making like a patch that has a lot of thread. So let me start over here. See, we basically are almost done. Now all we have to do is the letters. A lot of people, I see a lot of people online wondering, are they digitizing? Are they paying for it? So what I decided to do is go ahead and reactivate my Fiverr page for digitizing, because sometimes all people want is for their files to be digitized and they want to stitch it out themselves, which is cool. But for a person that does the digitizing, I have to make it like worth my time of doing this, because this can be a lot of time. All right, so I think we're good. We have finished his body. So now we have the black and then we have his white outline. Good. Alright, so now we can start working on these letters. Now, I tried to find this font. I could not find it. I don't even know what it's called. So we're going to have to draw it. And that goes for this cursive writing as well. I couldn't find this either, so I'm going to have to draw that out as well. I probably can find Mansfield, Texas letters because that looks like a typical serif font. But we're going to see. So we're going to start with the ground ash words. And my suggestion, as always, is to zoom in as close as you can. And I think I'm going to make this a piece, and then I'll make a G on this side a piece, okay? So let's get started. Let me think. So if we do this with column stitches, which thinking column stitches would be good, but I think I better do a field stitch. So let me just do a field. So let's do this long part first. Let's do this. Let's close that. Let's change this to red. Let's close this up. So this is red. So this way to create this top part. And I don't even think I really need to go all the way across because it's going to be underneath. This will save you some stitches, so I'm going to go like that. And then we're going to do this part of the G. So let's start up here. Then let's start the curve. And the only reason why I'm using a field stitch is because it uses less thread in a column. So that's why I'm doing the field. But also you have to keep in mind the look of it as well and what you're stitching up. Because if they get like super thin shirts, that column stitch will be digging into those lightweight shirts, and I don't know what they're actually gonna be stitching on. So I have to be real careful about that, because then I might have to go back and change the type of stitches that I'm using. Okay. So it's always something you're thinking about in the back of your mind. What type of fabric will they be using when you finally stitch this out? So I know at some point they'll probably want some summer shirts. But for now, so let's go ahead and change this G to some stitches, and let's take a look at what's happening here. So we have, we go up here, we have this part of the G. Zoom in a little bit. Where we starting, where we stopping, and then we're going to change the direction of the stitches so that it's going like up and down. Or we could go this way too, from the left to the right. I don't know which one looks better right now. So then let's go with this one. Lift this up just a tad. Well, I might end up just taking this all over, just for safety, in case it's not safe. Like, although it looks all right on here. Don't shut down on me. Oh no! That can happen. I wish this thing had automatic save. It doesn't. So let's see how far I got before it ixnay on the boot chain. Okay, so it looked like it saved in a good spot. So let us go back, and we just have to remember I have to save it several times while I'm working so I don't lose my work. This one's grown as 2, so let's save it, place it, let's zoom back in. I think it didn't like trying to change that little piece. Now also I'm noticing that I'm noticing something that I do not like. These side stitches here on the inside. I want to move those out. The underlay stitching is set to 10. I like to lower this number so that when the thread stitches down, it has something to grip onto on the edges. I don't really like it to be in the center like that. I'll go for this way. But I also want to say, and then let's turn this on so we can look at the stitches. So see how this is going sideways? I don't want it to do that. We want it to you want it to curve when it's stitching around, right? So we have to change the direction of the stitches to go with our design. So we need to curve right here, curve on this turn, curve up here, curve right there, so that it curves around as it's stitching. It's not looking crazy. So we're gonna say, so hopefully we'll have some of the same letters so that I can just copy the letter down, but it doesn't look like I have another G, and these are smaller, so they're not going to be the same. I have a R and an O, R and O that we can reuse. So we're going to be creating all of these letters from scratch. How about that? That's going to be fun and exciting. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to recreate it because I decided it will probably be in my best interest to just make it go all the way to the edge like that and save. Now let's look at this R. How can we do this R? Oh, and I gotta change this too. Let's change these to go across like that and save. So we have this, then we have this serif. We have serif down here, serif right here, and this. So let us do the straight parts, and then we can come back and do the connections. The connections can be at the second part. So let's try it. Let's go here, here, all the way down, here, way up. Okay, now let us do here around. Maybe I should have did it straight. So this will help you with your curves. If you ever want to get really good with doing curves, work on several fonts on different fonts that you choose. So just pick some fonts on the fonts and just practice doing font drawing so you can get used to using your mouse without looking at your hand, because this is a lot of hand-eye coordination. And it can be done. It's going to take you a little while. It took me 5 years to get to this point. So there's nothing you can do unless you're doing it all day, every day. And in that case, you can learn faster. But if you have a regular job, I didn't have time to do it. And I'm sure you don't need it. I'll be right back. Get another bowl of chai. Alright, my people. I'm back again. My chili is so good. I do believe that I could sell it on the black market. So I'm not sure if anybody is chatting. I don't think you guys are. So I'm going to keep working. Alright. So we're just drawing each section a little by little. So that's the top of the R. There's something going on here that I don't like. So let me zoom in and see why this looks so crazy. I think it's this coloring. Yeah. And see how this is tired? That's why zooming in is very important. So a lot of things you will miss if you don't zoom in. So it's not so much higher on the connection. Okay. So let's go down here and let's start this part of the R. I always go up higher and then go around. I was trying to do it from a distance, but I could not. Sorry if I get quiet. I'm concentrating. Like I said, I have 2 designs to do tonight. One, I'm trying to post for, somebody asked me to do it off my Etsy page, and so I'm going to try to get that done. So now let's do this little section over here. And then I'll put these in order once I get them all changed over to thread. So now I'm going to do the bottom of the R. And it'll make sense at some point to you while I'm breaking up and doing what I'm doing. Okay, so now we have put the R together. So let's go ahead and change this to stitches. And like I said, you can set these to be like to 6 points, but I don't like to change it because every design is different and you'll never use the same settings for everything. So I just leave it alone and just adjust it to based on what I'm doing at the time. And you always want to make sure your directional stitches are stitching out this way. Trust me later. That's all I can tell you. Trust me and thank me later. Change this to this way. And more than likely, this will be underneath. So stitch out first and then not top logo on, because I don't want people to see that it's added on. So we'll probably move this piece up. We'll move this bottom down here. We'll move that up. Well, it might be okay to be on the bottom. Where is? Oh, there it is. That's right up there. Okay. So now let's do this one. Which also I want that to be under. And this is also a good time to organize your stitches because it's just a good idea to do it. And y'all almost let me forget to save. Y'all supposed to be letting me know. I almost forgot. So all I'm doing now is changing my directional stitches and save. Let's check on this underlay. Change this to about 5 and save. Now let's click on this part of the R. Now, when I stitch this out, I'm going to use the 60 weight thread because it's thinner, finer, and it will allow these stitches to stitch out better than if I use the 60 weight thread, which is a lot thicker. So this one is way better in terms of stitching out letters because the letters will be more crisp. A lot of people like that better. So we want this leg to go before the top of the R. Okay. So I want you to look and see how high this is up here. I don't want it to be that high. I want it to kind of like that. Okay. So we finally finished the R. So let's work on this O. So the O might not be that difficult. It might be pretty simple. Might be pretty simple. Then we just cut out the inside. Go all the way around. We're on our way. We are on our way, ladies and gentlemen. We are on our way. So I zoomed in just so I could adjust some of my handles here. Adjusting. Adjusting. Alright. And now let's turn this into stitches. Change the underline to 6. And then we adjust our angles. Alright. We getting there. We getting there, people, and let's save. Now I'm kind of seeing I adjusted some of these back in there. I like the way that was turning. Now let's start with this W. So let's do the bottom. Let's do these serif sections the way I did the bottom of the R. We just want to go ahead and knock these out first and then do the connections. And then I'll do this one. A whole nother reason why getting close is so important. This right here. So normally when I'm doing this, I would be listening to a book or something to that sort. But digitizing is so much fun. So if you're interested and you have stuff and you just have an embroidery machine, you're not a digitizer, you can look me up on Fiverr. I have a channel on Fiverr as well where I list, advanced logos. I'm trying to put some pictures up so you can get an idea of what's considered advanced, but I did add the stitch count. So once you send me your logo, then I digitize it. Then you can see the stitch count and see where the price is coming from. I cannot tell on Fiverr if they have an option to upload files on there. I don't think they do. I wish that they did, but I don't think they do right now. But I'm still working through my page, so up until that point, if this is a service that you need for your business, you might already have an embroidery machine and you just need the files digitized. You can hit me on info@GailPDesigns and send me your file, and then we can discuss the pricing. Or if you have questions, of course you can always email me your questions. Okay. So now we have our serifs in place. Let me zoom in a little bit because these look a little crooked. And they are. And did. Let's bring that down. Bring that down a little bit. This part really don't matter too much because it's going to get covered up anyway. That was okay. That's okay. So now let's start with our lines going down this way. So let's start above there because these are going to be, I think we should do these on the bottom. What y'all think? think they should be on the bottom. Sorry for the noise, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so I got those two done, so let's go in this direction. Always go higher and lower, just to make sure I can hide the stitching, the connection. I think I'm gonna do the long parts first and then put the end caps on, the serif caps on top. Alright, so now let's go back and see what we have. So these are all the caps. These are inside parts. So let's go ahead and change those to stitches. And hit the short stitch. And must have unhighlighted the other one. I hate when it does that. I like to try to do them together. And then it again. It's weird. Alright, so now we have those. Now let's do the top part since it's not going to let me do them all together. So we have to adjust these directions so that it's going from top to bottom and not left to right. Should put a cut because we don't want all that thread up there hanging around. At least I don't. You know, when the machine is cutting, it's better to me. I think it's better. My opinion. My opinion doesn't matter to everyone, but it matters to my work. The way it looks. Okay, so now let's go over here. Let's go ahead and change that to a color. Oh, let's save, people. Yep, did y'all tell me to save? Y'all keep forgetting to tell me. Yeah, rough out here. Working with y'all. I'm supposed to be looking out for a sister. Looking out for a sister. Looking out. Are y'all looking out? Or y'all just watching? We are marathoning 2 patches that I need to send out the samples tonight before I get in the bed. It's 9 o'clock. Hopefully I can get done. The second patch, I think I'm going to do it on TikTok. It's a lot more involved than this one. Even though this looks like it's involved, that one is like way more involved. So I think I might be able to use, no, I can't use these caps. So I gotta make some new caps. Let's address this section here. And then let's go over here to this serif. Let's get this drawn out. Super quiet worker. I don't really talk a lot when I'm working. Trying to make conversation. I was hoping that people would be on here asking questions, but they are not. So we're gonna keep on going. Yes. Alright. Save. Now let's start drawing these innards. I think I should go a little bit higher. Alright. And we got this. Let's zoom in. Let's look at this. See, this is way over here. So we need to fix this. So whatever software you end up using, just make sure the zoom in quality is on point, because zooming in will save you so much in the end. It will really help you. And I have to forgive myself, and help you can forgive me too for the zipping around and everything that I'm doing. I know it can probably be kind of hard on the eyes trying to watch me do this in real time. Alright, so I don't want it to be so boxy. Let's see what's going on. Alright, so now let's go back and convert all these to, and say, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. We're getting there. Again, we're doing a little bit of a marathon digitizing. I have another logo to do here in a second. Bring this one. So all my caps should be together. I think I want the caps to be first or last. These go with W. Alright, let's see if it'll let me change all these at once. Nope. Did it again. Did it again. Did it again. The same. Control S. Let's go through these parts. Save. I gotta go back and change the direction of the stitches. Alright, so let's zoom in. Cut it because that thread is jumping over there. Right. And the other thing, even though just because you can see that it's going in a different direction doesn't mean it's necessarily going to look bad. But you will see it on the test stitch out that I'm going to do tonight. And let's turn these stitches around. When I first got started doing this, I used to charge $80 just to digitize. Because what I was finding is a lot of people, you know, would back out of jobs when I first got started. And then I spent all that time digitizing, and then they end up like changing their mind or decide not to do it. And I couldn't get my time back, so I started just building my time into doing this separately, which to me, I think it pays off a lot better. So that's why when you see my pricing, you'll understand why I charge the way I do. And then if I have like a super detailed job that's like more than 20,000 stitches, then you have to pay half up front, which is one of the reasons why this can get pretty expensive, because a lot of times people want certain type of logos done very large, and it's a lot of thread, and then you have to test, and so it's a lot that goes with this, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to reuse the R and the O down here. R to O, because there's two more R's. And then I have a half an S right here. So let's do this A. Let's zoom in. I don't know, y'all don't know. I tried to drink some coffee before I started doing this, but I don't think when I'm sleepy, coffee just ain't gonna do it. When you're tired, you're tired. There's nothing the caffeine can do for you. Cause I feel the haymakers and the Sandman, or whatever you want to call it. I feel it coming on. But I want to get done with this one at least. I have somebody that wants me to do. Let's take a look at this logo right quick. Before I finish. If you want to see how I started this, you have to watch this video from the beginning, because I don't have it. I don't want to go back and repeat everything I said earlier. So this is a logo that somebody called me to do. There's logo here. And this is the one I was going to do on TikTok. Alright, so let's talk this one through. This one will be mostly black. I will do the outline. I will do the whole thing in black. And then I will just add the colors that are on top. These letters right here, I think I already have a font like this that will do the white, but I don't know about the blue. I might have to add the blue. I know it does a white, but I don't know about like the double, so I will probably end up having to do like the blue would be the outside, and then I'll have to come back and then add the white on top of the blue to make this effect right here. I think I have this font already, and this one probably would go pretty fast. The letters is probably like the most work is the hardest work is these letters. So you know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and run this. I'm gonna go through this one right quick because it almost gonna take me a little while. I could do this fairly quickly. So let's get us some black thread over here. And I'll say that. Let's get this a home. This is Delaware State. Let's change this to save it. So let's go through and do this outline in black, and then we'll do the orange, and then we'll do the blue, then we'll do the white. Alright, let us do it. Now this one, this one to me would be considered a moderately difficult. This is not basic, and that's because of the lettering. The lettering is what is the most important part of this design. I mean, the I don't know, is this a bee? What is this? Hornet? This hornet is important, but it's not difficult to do. So when I'm doing my pricing, I'm basing it on what part is the most difficult. And a lot of times it's getting the lettering to stitch out, especially when you're doing patches. Because what's going to have to happen is this black, I'm going to have to put another black stitch around here just to give me something to cut on when I cut it out. And I got to make sure I have this orange. So I'm going to have to look this color up. I have an orange that kind of looks like this, but it might not be the right color orange. It's like, might be like a teal blue or something. I don't know. What y'all think? Y'all think it's like teal blue? It looks kind of teal blue to me. I want to get to the point where I can use like a stylus and do this, but then that will come with a little bit of practice. Cause I'm so used to doing it with a mouse, I don't even know if I could do it with a stylus because when you right and left click, it's totally different. Totally different process. Totally different process. I wish I could play some music, but I cannot. Can't even listen to a TV show or nothing on here. But when you're on TikTok, you can. You can listen to music. You can do all the things you want to do. And I never figured out why. Like, why is it not a big deal on TikTok? Maybe because it's owned by the Chinese people, maybe? Not in America? I don't know. You know the answer to that? Drop down in the comment section and tell me why you can play music on TikTok and it's not a big deal. Inquiring minds want to know. I should have timed myself with this. I have never timed myself, but I could be able to do it. I'll be able to see how long when I play this back. I could see how long it took me to do this long. Y'all won't believe this, but when I first started doing this, I had a 1 needle machine, and I had somebody ask me to do a logo. I think it just had like 2 colors. But it took me 2 weeks to do 50. Because of course, you know, I had to stitch out the first color, then I had to change it. It was horrible. Yeah, it was a mess. And then that's when I decided, because the order just kept getting bigger and bigger, because I was getting good at it. And so people would come and say, I need 100, I need the size. I was like, oh my God, this is a lot. So I just decided at one point to buckle down and buy a commercial embroidery machine. And I just paid it off last month after 5 years. It took me 5 years to pay it off. And I finally did, and I'm so happy I own my machine. They're supposed to send like some paperwork, I guess, but I haven't received anything. But I still have a warranty now. I do pay for a warranty for this machine. And I guarantee you, as soon as you don't have a warranty, something will happen. So if you ever decide to buy one of these machines, I would suggest that you purchase the warranty, because this is a machine, you know, on top of being able to call somebody, you have to then pay for it, talking on the phone, and then you have to pay for the parts to be replaced. And living in Texas, they have a person, I think he lives here, but he'll come to your house and show you stuff, which is a plus. And actually, a lot of times when I would call him on the phone, he could tell me exactly what to do and listen to the machine, and okay, yeah, I know what that is. He'll just fix it. So listen to me, people. If you ever decide to get this machine, make sure you get the service warranty. This thing got 1,000 pieces. You have to definitely keep your service up, because if you don't keep your service up, when it tells you to do a certain thing, you can mess your machine up, and you don't want to mess it up. When I bought my machine, I think it was like 15,000, 16,000. So I don't know what they cost now. I don't even think they list the price online. You gotta call and they tell you the price. So I don't know what they cost now, but child, I can't imagine. Hopefully they didn't go up that much on the price. So I was told they build them in the United States, so hopefully they're not exorbitantly costly. Okay, guys, so we've cut out the black section down here. Zoom in. Let's start down here. I'm gonna cut out this, because I actually probably could run this while I'm still working on the other one, and I need to save this file as soon as I make these stitches. Let me save this. So let us make these into stitches from the underlay to 6. Right now I'm not going to do a second layer of field stitches. And then let's save this file in its correct folder. This is Delaware State. Delaware State Harnage. I think that's their, yep, one. Alright, so now we have our file saved. So let's start cutting out some sections. Let's start with the wings on this side, and we'll do the wings on the other side. And the reason you cut this out is because you don't want to have like stitches on top of stitches, so you're like wasting thread, stitching on top of thread. So I like to cut it out, and I always go inside instead of outside. I cut out just so you have enough overlap for the other color that you're gonna be using. Why is it? Okay. Okay. Now over. Cut that out and save. Let's slide on over to this side. This way. I was supposed to be doing this on TikTok, and I'm not doing it on TikTok. But I might go on over on TikTok and do it. Since my engagement on YouTube is not that great tonight. So I'm gonna have to start my TikTok page. Let's see if I can share my screen on TikTok. I never tried to be, but I really don't feel like trying it tonight because I'm busy. Alright, so let's cut out the eyeballs here. Let's cut out this eyeball over here. And now let's cut out as much of the head as we can. Start right here. It's a little tight, but all the thread we can save is the goal here. We just don't want to be sewing on top of the thread, wasting thread when we don't have to. So I'll just go this far. This is far enough. Saving thread. Saving thread is the goal. This is the goal. Isn't this so relaxing? It's relaxing to me to do this. I don't know why. I just love it. I love digitizing. It's so fun to me. I could do this all day long, which is another reason why I started my Fiverr page for digitizing. Go on over to Fiverr if you need this done and hire me. Hire me. I really needed to do a little more research on how other digitizers are setting up their pages because I might have done it wrong and I don't know. So if you want to steal from me, this would probably be a good time because my page is probably not set up properly. I tried to set it up by stitch count, but I don't know. I think people need to actually see images that I've digitized at that thread count. I mean at that stitch count. Right, so far this is what we have. So let's turn this on so y'all can see. So this is what it looks like so far. And then turn this back off, and then we're gonna go down here at the bottom and do the body of the hornet. We're gonna cut this out. Cut out the body. Then we're gonna go back. We're gonna do the letters last because that's like the most difficult part. That's what I'm working on in the other logo is the letters. It's the most time stealing portion of doing this. And like I told you before, I'm not gonna do like all the way to the edge because it's just not enough room to cut out. So that little part over there ain't gonna hurt none. It's just when you stitch them like huge pieces like on top of other pieces, it just makes the thread count higher. So I try my best to keep the stitch count, I keep saying thread count, the stitch count as low as I possibly can, because I realize that's where a lot of the cost is going. Okay. All right, guys. So we have successfully cut out that part. Now we're going to go back. I'm going to cut this off, and then we're going to go back and do this blue. It's a very light blue. So let's see if we can find a blue that's close to this color. These are Madeira colors here. That looks close. Is it this one? Or is it this one? Or is that? It's a little dark. Let's go with this one. Okay. Alright, so let's do this. Sorry, there's no music and not a lot of talking going on. Because I'm working. That didn't go the way I wanted it to go. Okay, so I don't know if we can duplicate this and use it on the other side, but let's give it a try. Maybe it'll work. So I don't have to do it again. Duplicate. Now we're just gonna flip it. We're gonna drag it over here, and it looks like it works to me, people. It's a little bit off, a little bit. It's a little off right there. Let's see if I can fix that. Under normal circumstances, this will work. Not always, but it will keep you from doing a lot of extra work. It's kind of a simple fix. These are some of the like tricks you'll learn how to do once you really learn how to digitize properly. You'll learn how to do stuff like this, which will save you so much time. Trust me. Trust me. Okay. So now let's go ahead and digitize this. Now let's turn this on so now we can redirect these stitches. That one look okay. This one does not look happy. Okay. And save. So let's do these other blue parts down here at the bottom. I told y'all this one looked like it was fairly simple. And so we just went ahead and knocked this out right quick. I want to get to the point where I can like have my own threads, you know, like people's thread made, and it can be the exact color of their logo. like custom thread. That would be so dope if I could do that. That would be so fire. Aya, aya, aya. And then let's go and do this one. And remember I said I had to do an outline. So let's see. Oh man, I didn't mean to do that. Shoot. Let's see what's gonna happen is this is gonna jump over here with this one, and I don't want that thread jumping over there. I'm gonna have to take this one out. So this is something I do a lot, not on purpose. It just happens. I forget to click off of a shape. So see how that one's already highlighted? If I don't click off of it and like start a whole another one, it'll connect the next one that I create, which is kind of leaving threads here. I don't know why. Okay. Let's try this again. Let's fix that. All right, let's zoom out. All right, let's save. I don't think we can use it on the other side, so we're going to draw it again. And we don't want to go all the way across because we're trying to do what? Save thread. That's right. And this is going to go underneath the black. So I'm going to move these shapes above the black because it's supposed to be underneath. So keep that in mind when you're building your design, is that it should be underneath the color, so it's not on top of the color. But it all just depends on how your design is set up. It may not work that way, but if it does, you want to do what's best to make sure your design comes out the way that your customer likes. Because the goal here is to get more customers. And the only way you can get more customers is if you're paying attention to the details, my peoples. Got to pay attention to the details. Gotta understand what's going on in the design. You feel me? Okay, so these 4 pieces will be above the black. And so let's go ahead and turn those out. So we got these little pieces up here too. I missed those. I missed them on this side. So let me go up here and add these to this section. So let me zoom in, then we'll go back and change the direction of the stitches. This is one of the reasons why it's important to do your colors together instead of jumping all over the place. When I first started, I should be jumping right over here, jumping over there. And then I end up having to go back and organize my different pieces of the project because my stitches was just all over the place. And my goodness, it was a very difficult thing to do, I must say. So we have this little sliver of blue. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. Just like that. Because again, it's underneath the black. Right? So save. And digitize this. And apply and save. Now let us go ahead and change the direction of the stitches. I'm gonna put a little bit of compensation. So the bigger this number, the thicker it gets. See that? We don't need 8. We probably need about 1. See, like 1. 1 is usually will do the job. 1 or 2 usually does the job. Especially when you're trying to make it a little thicker so that the machine has something to stitch out. Let's save. Let's start here. Just stop over here. Right now I'm working backwards, so that's why my start and stops are opposite. Save. Start. Stop. And change the direction of the thread. So we want all of our thread to be seemingly going in the same direction. That's the goal here. And save. Let's change this one. And I'm going to show you so far how many stitches we have. And this will also help you understand like how when I'm taking stitches away, why it's important to cut them out. I wish I would have showed you that before I cut all the other stuff out, but I forgot. I'll do it on the next one. So the next logo I do, I'll show y'all the difference in the stitch count when I subtract or when I cut out the pieces we don't actually need. I think I need to move this one up above, but I think right now it's down at the bottom. Okay, so it's down here at the bottom. So these should be above the black. Okay. These are the things that should be below. No, these are above the black. This ones are these. This one should be up. Alright, so now when you turn on the black, it looks like this. Okay? So now what color you think we should be working on? I think we should be working on, let's do the white. And then we'll do the orange. And then we'll try to find these letters. Hoping that I have the letters. Let's finger cross and hope that I have the letters. Alright, so let's get this fill and let's grab this white. And let's go here. I'm gonna have to change the blue because it might be not too far into the white. I might have to move it because the white is on top of the blue and I want the blue to fall underneath the white. That's the goal. That is the goal, my friends. Alright, so that's the white. So what I could do, no, I don't want to do that. I want the blue. I want the blue up. Another blue up. I need to do that. Let's do this one because underneath the white, underneath the white, underneath the white, underneath the white. Only on the inside. Okay. So let's check it out. Let's say okay. So y'all think we can change it to the other side and it'll work? I think it'll work. Let's see. Remember how to change that one a little bit. So let me see if I can duplicate this one and flip it and move it over here. It's like it's shorter. That's so weird to me how this is way shorter. It's weird how that's happening. So let's zoom in and see if I can doctor this up a little bit. Let's turn on the blue. Okay. See if I can fix it. Here. What's going on under here? I'm gonna tell y'all what I watched on TV the other night. It was so good. It was a documentary about Martin Scorsese. It was really good. And if y'all like documentaries, the way I like documentaries, y'all might want to go check it out. Well, it was good. Very interesting. I don't think it was really no boring parts about it. It's like super interesting. So let's look at this through the wire, see how it's looking. See this blue. Blue. Save just in case. Messing up value, messing up. Messing up the thing, messing up the thing. Messing up the thing. I think that is it. I think this is it. I think that's what we're looking for. I think that's what we need. I think we're good. So let's save that. Now let's work. Did I put eyeballs on here? Did I do eyeballs? Absolutely not. So let me draw these eyeballs right quick. Let's draw the eyeballs. Eyeballs are probably do the line up. Let's see. Short stitching. And then let's do the underlay. 6. Let's start and end point. The line's pretty good. So now let's duplicate this one and then flip it and see if it fit over. Yes. Yes, God. Excellent. All right, so now let's work on this orange. Let's save. Now let's work on the orange. The orange is going to be hopefully not that hard to find. More of a reddish orange. Orangey orange. Maybe paprika, pumpkin. I don't know, y'all can't. Is it more orange? Is that? I don't know what color orange this is. I don't even have. Okay, let's go with this salsa color. Alright, so we're gonna start over here, work our way around like this, like that. Alright, so let's start with this orange color. See how we do. This one's going a whole lot faster than I thought. It's almost 10 o'clock, so I'm probably not going to run these tonight. It's just kind of late. And this machine is really loud. But what I can do is just create the actual object on my Etsy page without the images. Sometimes people I like to show it stitched out, but my fear is I don't have this color orange. I have a color I think that's close to it, but I'm not real sure. I have to see what color this really is. It's more like a burnt orange and not orangey orange, I don't think, but we can look up and see what they say the school color is. I know for sure I got this blue. I'm not certain about that one. I have a color that looks close to it. And I kind of do want to stitch it out. I just like to see I just want to see. I do have black gabardine, so I can stitch this out. So forgive me, neighbors. I just want to see. I hate when I do this real late at night because I always want to see what it look like. And that's just me every single time. Every single time. I just love to see what I like to see. See, like to see. Sorry, no talking, just working. Wish I could play music for you guys, but I cannot. I wish people were here watching so I could be answering questions, but I'm in the process of building my audience. And so going live is part of the plan. Going live is part of the plan. Do that curve. Stay on the line. Stay to the right. Right, so we finished the top half of the bee, or the hornet. I keep wanting to call it a bee. It's a hornet. And then let's work on this part. This collar. Let's fix this. And continue on. So essentially, digitizing is redrawing the entire logo again and again. All right, so let's go down here. The hornet's better half, the bottom. Good. We're getting there. We are getting there, people. We are getting there. The most satisfying part of doing this is when you get to stitch it out. I love stitching these out. It's so interesting. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. I'm excited about both of these designs. I really love both of the designs, to be honest with you. I love designs that look simple, and like when I did the LSU one, I like that one. I love the Alabama one. I love all of these logos that I've been working on. I just love the challenge. I love to be challenged by new designs. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start my Fiverr page, so that I could digitize different designs, which will help improve my skills. It's challenging. I love a new challenge. I cannot stand doing the same thing every day. I just start getting bored. So I look for hard things to do. Like I really want to learn how to do collage. So I picked the hardest thing to do, and that's because it helps to challenge my brain. I never like to pick stuff that's easy. Yeah, I like that. That's how I am. Okay, so now we've done this orange part. Uh-oh. Put that there. Put that on. Just talking too much. Delete that. Okay, so now we are ready to save. And then we're going to digitize the orange parts together. And then we're going to save. And let's see how many stitches we got so far. We got 11,000, and I haven't even put the 11,500, and I haven't even put the letters in yet. So this is what we're looking like so far. Okay. So let's organize this stitches here. Oh. So let's turn these stitches up and down. And let's see what's going on here. That looks okay. That's what we have so far. Now I need to go ahead and put an edge on here. So what's going to happen is when I get to the blue, I can either do all black underneath, or I can wait. When I get over here, I can do a blue around here. But I think what I'm going to end up doing is just doing all black. So let's go ahead and put a black border all the way around before we forget. And we want to do that up here at the top of the key. So always try to get on the line. That kind of curves a little bit. Because when I cut this out, I want to be able to have a border to cut on. I don't cut into the actual logo. And you make it a patch. Sorry for the silence. Again. It's hard to talk and do this. Woman working. I'm working. When you're putting a border on, it's probably best to get as close to the design as possible, because you start doing the offset, which is when you have it peeking out from underneath. You want to have something for it to peek out underneath on, so it's not edge to edge, and then when it's stitching out, you'll see the fabric underneath. So you just want to try to get as close to your design as possible. As you can see, I'm kind of inside of it. So I should have went up a little bit higher so that the understitch or the border stitch is underneath the design and not top of the design. You can control that all with offset stitch. We will discuss shortly. And you'll be able to change the position of the stitches in the corners because it might like just look really weird. Okay, so now let's hit save and see it's at the bottom so it's on top. We're gonna move this all the way here. And we're going to zoom out and see how it looks. I don't really like how it's taking the space up under the under there, so let me change to see like to custom. So what you'll see is, say that went outside. You take the number down, and when you go to the right, it's going to go out. We go the opposite way. Oh, it went in. Okay. Sorry, I lied. So let's zoom in a little. So when you go to underlay, no, fine. You go to 39, it's coming out. Let's see right here. Which stitch is it? It's way over here. Trying to fix this point right here. I don't know what this is. Let me delete this one. Let's say maybe it's this. Yep. Let me delete that. Okay. There's a lot of fixing going on. This really comes from just having a lot of points and having to change the direction of the stitching so that it's not all the way down there, but just wanting to have something to cut on the outside. Let's take it out a little bit further. Now let's decrease the size and just take it a little further. Okay. Definitely got to stitch this out because I don't know how it's gonna look. So let's save that and let's turn the stitches back on. Let's take a look. So far so good. Alright, so let's turn everything off and let's try to find these letters here. I don't know what that font is. It seems like I have this font, but I'm not sure if I do. I think I have the Hornets font. So let me see. So what I normally do is I just start with spelling the word out with capitals. And we're going to change to this orange. And we're going to decrease the size. Then we're going to look through our fonts to see if we have it. I know we have athletic. It's not really athletic. More of a block looking numbers. Boxy block. So this is what I normally do. You know what? This might be Clarendon. I wonder if this is the font for the other logo that I'm doing down there. Clarendon. Hold on for a minute. Let me say something. Let me see something. Let me say something. Let us type out the word ash. I think the A is backwards. I think that's what that. I think I tried this font before and it wasn't. It matched the R a little bit, but not really. So let me try to change this to Clarendon. No, because see how that looks? That's a different H. I think I looked at that before and it wasn't the same. Almost, but not quite. Because it doesn't have the piece right there. And plus the bottoms of the feet are not made the same. So no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it, baby. I guess it could pass almost, but not exactly. Not exactly. It's close, but not. The S is gonna kill it. The S is not the same at all. Nope. Ain't gonna work. It ain't my fault. That ain't gonna work, baby girl. That ain't gonna work. Alright, so let's continue on with, let's continue on with this one. Let's say, so now we're looking for these letters. Let's see. Let's look in the legacy letters. See if I can find something that's similar. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Athletic field. Athletic. I think that athletic one, but I don't know if I'll add the border. And plus the R is different. I'm looking, I'm trying. So we out of the true type font. So let me go back up to specialty. This is like a serif block. Not convinced, but also I'm not gonna give up. Slab serif. Let's try slab serif before I go down into my other fonts. You look at so many fonts every day. Wait a minute, I think, is this the one that's up above? No. So let me go down into my, I might have to end this because it's getting very long. I've been on here for 2 hours. So I'm gonna let this video go. Okay. Appreciate everybody that stopped by and checked out my design. I will come back and do a short showing you how far I have gotten. If I stitch it out tonight, I will definitely show it in a short. Alright, I thank you guys for watching. Have any questions, like always, hit me in the comments. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share. Share, 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 share.